Good afternoon and dobar dan, dear Prime Minister Spajic, Minister Kočević, dear colleagues, ambassadors, dragi predstavnici mediji. Hvala što ste danas s nama povodom prezentacije izvještaje Evropske komisije za Crnu Goru. Počinjemo sa 3 najvažnije preporuke iz ovog izvještaja i to na vašem lijepom jeziku da subtilnosti ne bi bili lost in translation. Prva poruka ovog izvještaja, i to ste upravo čuli od komisarke Kos, ovo je bila vrlo uspješna godina za evropski put Crne Gore. Ostvaren je vidljiv i snažan napredak i Europa to jasno prepoznaje. Prepoznaje vas i Crnu Goru kao jasni frontrunners u ovom procesu. Druga preporuka izvještaja također jasno poručuje da će naredna godina i narednih 14 mjeseci biti presudni. Posebno u oblastima vladavine prava i pravosudnih reformi, od izbora sudija Ustavnog suda do sprovođenja preporuka Venecijanske komisije, imenovanje savjeta nezavisnih tijela i jačanje borbe protiv korupcije i organiziranog kriminala. S ambicioznim ciljem da se u naredne godine zatvori 20 poglavlja, bit će potrebna još više truda i tehničkog rada na poglavljima, ali i politička stabilnost i jasan fokus i vlade i skupštine i pravosuđe na ovaj zadatak. I treća preporuka, Evropska unija stoji čvrsto uz Crne Gore na tom putu, kao i Evropska komisija i države članice sa snažnom podrškom, ali i jasnim očekivanjima. So these were the main 3 messages, and in the next, and please bear with me, about 10 minutes, I'll be going and I will be covering 3 main elements. One, the context, where are we, what's the geopolitical picture today, and what are the latest EU-related achievements of Montenegro in the last year. Secondly, what are the main findings of the report, what are on the chapters and on the fundamentals, and thirdly, a little bit an outlook on the way forward on this path. So first, the context, the geopolitical situation. Here, and you heard Commissioner Kos just before in the press conference, the current geopolitical challenges have reinforced our conviction that the European Union needs to do a lot more to protect our own security and our prosperity. This can only be done successfully by working hand in hand with our neighbors to create a strong, secure, and united Europe based on common democratic values. And in this regard, the accession of the Western Balkan countries is a key geopolitical tool for the European Union. In this context, the European Union is supporting strongly Montenegro and its Western Balkan neighbors to meet all the criteria for membership by strengthening institutions, democratic governance, and public administration reforms. So this is to start with, and you heard it in the press conference before, this is the geopolitical context which we never have to lose sight of. So what were the main EU-related achievements in Montenegro before coming to the findings of the report on the chapters and on the fundamentals? First, the growth plan. Montenegro has made significant progress on the reform agenda, and that's good news, and was able to receive the payments in the amount of about 45 million euros from the first 2 tranches, and is therefore among the best pupils in the class, among the Western Balkans, is among the front runners when it comes to the implementation of the growth plan. Secondly, and this is about the promise we made a couple of years ago about gradual integration, actually joining parts of the European Union, the single market, even before joining the European Union. Here, 2 big things happened over the last period. One, just last month on 7 October, Montenegro became a full member of the single European payment area. And this means, and many have already tested it, no more expensive fees for transferring money, increased online trade, and more transfers from the EU and the diaspora. And then the second thing, and I'll highlight this here today because it was a bit underreported in the media. 3 days ago, on 1st of November, Montenegro joined the Convention on a Common Transit Procedure, which ensures faster, cheaper, and more efficient and safer international trade with the rest of Europe, which will boost your economy and strengthen its economic ties with the European Union. So this is the second very big thing which happened over the last period of time. And I'm very happy that this is not the end of the road. We have heard Commission President von der Leyen last month, 26, we will continue on that path. And the next big step forward is expected in the form of free roaming with the European Union countries. So this is the second part, growth plan. Secondly, gradual integration. And the third point I want to mention here, and this is beautiful news, we have received 2 weeks ago, Nikšić was chosen as the European Capital of Culture for 2030. And this is the third ever city from the Western Balkans to carry this title. And čestitke and congratulations once more also from here to our friends, to the winning bid and the team which has been working so hard these last years to get the bid through and be successful. So all these steps are the result of two main things. One, they are testament to Montenegro's progress, hard work, and commitment to the EU accession. And secondly, they reflect the willingness of the European Union and its member states to step up to the plate, to answer the geopolitical challenges of our time, and to fill the enlargement process with life. My second part here today is about the actual report, the findings of the annual report. And I don't know if you have a chance to look at it. I can only encourage you to do it. It's not too long. Our reports like 5-7 years ago, I remember, were much longer, 200, 300 pages. We have really reduced them in size, make them more condensed. It's about 100 pages, but it's worth reading. What is clear from the outset is that the report is clearly more positive. You can detect that from the fact that Montenegro closed 4 chapters, but also from the general tone of the report. But also you can detect it from the marks. And the number crunchers here, and I'm sure some of the media colleagues are number crunchers, you have been already giving the respective marks to the respective grades. You know our system, it goes from early stage to well advanced. That's, by the way, a little bit of a science itself, how to get to the nitty-gritty of this grading. But what I can tell you is it's an objective grading. It's a grading which makes it comparable also to other countries in the region. I think that's positive for everybody. So the good news there is that Montenegro has advanced substantially in both the preparedness to join the European Union, A, but B, also the progress over the last year. So this is, I think, the point I wanted to start with. All in all, this makes for the best report card ever received here in Montenegro from the European Commission. Or put plainly, Montenegro has strengthened its position as the front runner in the accession process. Now, looking a bit deeper into the report, what is clear is the report gives credit where work was accomplished, but also highlights the challenges ahead. So it praises where praise is due, but it's definitely not a look through the pink glasses. As it points to shortcomings, it points also to deficiencies, and yes, sometimes it also criticizes. It is fair and well-meaning, which depicts accurately and diligently the situation in the chapters and on the fundamentals. Coming to the political stage, the report notes the strong political commitment of the Montenegrin authorities to its strategic goal of EU accession. In this context, it notes that decisive step towards electoral reform by adopting a first package of legislative amendments, including campaign financing, improving the integrity of election administration, increasing the gender quota on electoral lists, and introducing an election day for local elections for the whole country. And this is definitely an achievement. We consider it a big achievement, and it was possible because you reached out across the aisle, and it was, in the end, cross-party consensus which allowed this reform to be actually positively voted on. But yes, the report also calls that it's great what you did on the electoral reform, but there's a second part still outstanding. There are a few things from Greco, from OEC, and I was happy to see last week that the committee in charge of electoral reform actually met and decided to move forward and also finish the second part of electoral reform. Montenegro also successfully overcame an institutional and political crisis related to the Constitutional Court in the beginning of the year through negotiations and the help of the Venice Commission. In October, Montenegro sent amendments to the law on the Constitutional Court to the European Commission and the Venice Commission for assessment, and we expect a swift transposition of the amendments into the law. When it comes to the fundamentals, the report notes good progress in Chapter 23 through the appointment of a new Supreme Court President and initial positive results achieved by implementing the improved legal framework as well as the judicial reform strategy. However, the human, financial infrastructure and ICT capacity in the justice system must be substantially improved. When it comes to domestic handling of war crimes, Montenegro made good progress. Good progress was also made on the implementation of reforms on prevention and fight against corruption. The track record of investigations and prosecutions in cases of high-level corruption improved, consolidating its positive trend. However, the country needs to step up its criminal justice response by swiftly finalizing all pending indictments. Regarding Chapter 24, and here the fight against organized crime, we have some good achievements, including important actions by the Special State Prosecution in uncovering and prosecuting organized crime groups. And here these efforts must be accompanied by sustainable court rulings in order to establish a consolidated track record. Plus, the country also needs to ensure stability in the police by appointing fully empowered heads and directors, and to address risks of corruption and infiltration of organized crime through prevention policy and stringent judicial action. And yes, this is also Chapter 24. You've heard that, Prime Minister, from us before. The visa alignment, we have seen some actions in the past month, and we expect real progress to continue also until the end of next year. When it comes to fundamental rights and freedoms, the legislative and institutional framework is largely in place. However, more effort is needed to finalize the new law on the Ombudsperson's office and to adopt the anti-discrimination law and to improve the status of Roma and Egyptians. On freedom of expression, the report notes the delays in appointing members of the Council of the Agency for Audiovisual Media Services, which we expect to see resolved soon. On a positive note, over the past year, Montenegro maintained its full alignment with the common foreign and security policy, 100%. Well done. Please continue to do so. And you also continued to contributing to EU crisis management missions and operations under the common security and defense policy. Regarding good neighborly relations, we commend the recent steps in resolving bilateral issues with Croatia, and therefore Montenegro should continue to make efforts in finding solutions to all the outstanding issues. On economic criteria, Montenegro achieved an improved level of preparedness in developing a functioning market economy and in coping with the competitive pressure and market forces in the EU. So this is, in a nutshell, as I told you, it's a big book, but this is the gist, the nutshell of the findings of this year's annual report on Montenegro. Now, when it comes to the way forward, here for 25, I think it's pretty clear what we expect. Montenegro aims to close several additional chapters by the end of this year. For those chapters, the report notes good and very good progress, and the ball will soon be, I'm looking at my colleagues here, in the court of the Council of the EU member states to make a decision. And I do expect, I want to underline that, I do expect a substantial intergovernmental conference later in December in Brussels. Looking at 26, where we do see the need to step it up a few notches, a few chapters. This is Chapter 1, Free Movement of Goods, Chapter 8, Competition Policy, Chapter 12, Food Security, and Chapter 27, Environmental Issues and Climate Change. And yes, of course, Chapter 23 and 24 have to be always in the spotlight when it comes to reform processes in this country. Apart from the chapters, we hope for quick progress on the appointment of 3 Constitutional Court judges, members of the Judicial and Prosecutorial Councils, and Central Bank Vice Governor and board members, to name only a few. Coming to a close, I would like to thank all stakeholders in the executive and in the legislative branches as well as the opposition, for the fruitful and close cooperation we've had over the past year. I also want to acknowledge Montenegro's vibrant civil society, who were very supportive on various issues and actually contributed positively in getting good solutions, including on the electoral reform, but also on issues and processes related to rule of law or fundamental rights. And yes, a big thanks to my colleagues here, ambassadors, and your staff at the embassies for your not only informing and reporting on a daily basis to your headquarters, but also to your perm reps, but also for your actual and concrete contributions to Montenegro's EU accession path. And my final point is here, and you have heard it from me, EU accession is not a job for one branch of government. It's not a job for one party leader, not a job for one coalition. It's really a whole of society effort, which is very much needed. And therefore, keep working together. You will have, I'm absolutely sure, intense and sometimes tough debates. That's normal. That's part of the political game. But it's important to keep the eye on the ball, and especially in view of 26, which will be a big year and can become even a very big year for Montenegro. You're going to celebrate 20 years since the re-establishment of independence. You're going to have 2 big summits, at least, the last time I counted, on the Berlin process and the EU Western Balkans summit here in Montenegro. And this is a big chance for you, because it's a possibility to showcase what positive and what beautiful you can contribute to the EU table. But let me also rest assured, what you can impress the most, and this goes for the 27 leaders of all the 27 governments who will visit next year Montenegro, what you can impress them most with is actual progress, is actual working together, reaching out to the other aisle, and actually making progress, closing chapters, strengthening institutions, and leading by example. So I want to encourage you, Prime Minister, to exactly doing that and continuing going down that path. And once again, congratulations on a very good report.